Welcome to the Vue Splitter component tutorial. The Syncfusion Vue Splitter component is used to design Outlook-like applications using multiple horizontal and vertical panes. You can resize the panes horizontally or vertically to change their dimensions. In this video, I will show you how to add this Syncfusion Vue Splitter component to a Vue app and how to implement a few of its basic features like resize, collapse, and expand panes. You will also see how to render nested panes. I will start with the Vue application creation process using the vuejs command. Make sure you have installed the latest versions of Vue and Node.js. To create a project in Vue, open Visual Studio Code. Type the npm create v at latest command and provide the app name, my Vue app. Next, choose Vue as the framework and JavaScript as the variant. The Vue project is created. I navigate to the newly created Vue app and install the required dependencies using the npm install command. Now, the application is configured with the default settings of a Vue project. To add the Syncfusion Vue Splitter component, install the Syncfusion Vue Layouts package using the npm install at syncfusion/ej2 Vue Layouts --save command. This command will install the package with its dependencies. The next thing I must do here is to register the trial license key to use Syncfusion components. I open the main.js file and import the register license method from the Syncfusion ej2 base package. Using this method, I register the trial license key. To generate this license key, refer to the link in the description below. To add the Splitter component, I open the app Vue file and remove the default code. After that, import the Splitter component from the Syncfusion Vue Layouts package and register it globally along with its child directives. To access the CSS styles for the Vue Splitter component, I need to import the necessary CSS references. So, in the style tag, I import the material theme reference for the Splitter component. I add the Splitter component inside the template tag by adding the ej splitter tag. To use ePanes and ePane tags, I need to import the panes directive and pane directive modules from the ej2 Vue Layouts package and register them inside the components section. Then I add the ePanes tag to add a collection of panes. This ePanes tag will add a number of ePane tags within it. I am planning to add 3 panes, so let me add 3 pane tags with appropriate content. I also set the height of the splitter as 250 pixels and the width as 800 pixels. I save the changes and run the application using the npm run dev command. See, the splitter component is rendered with the provided content. Here, the size of each pane is adjusted automatically based on the provided plain text content. In addition to the plain text content, you can include HTML markup and Vue UI components. I am going to add the HTML markup in the first pane. For that, I define a method named firstContent inside the data function. Within it, I add HTML content. Then I assign this method to the content property of the first pane. Next, I am going to add the VueList Vue component in the third pane. I install the Syncfusion ej2 VueLists package using the command npm install at syncfusion/ej2 VueLists --save. Then I import the list view component from the Syncfusion Vue Lists package. And inside the style tag, I import the CSS reference for the list view component. After that, I initialize a variable named app and assign the Vue method createApp to create an application instance. Then I define an object named listViewContent and define a template named listViewTemplate using the app variable. Within the template, I add the ViewListView component by using the code snippet from our demo application. Here, I have bound data to the listView component using the data source property. I define properties like showHeader, headerTitle, and showIcon. Also, I map data source fields to the fields property here. Next, I define a function named listViewTemplate and return the object listViewContent to the template property. I then assign this listViewTemplate to the content property of the third pane. Next, in the style tag, I include height and width styles for the list icon and then background image, position, and size styles for the folder and file classes to align the listView component. If you want to know more about adding the ViewListView component to the Vue app, refer to the documentation link in the description below. You can now see the HTML markup content in the left pane, the plain text content in the middle pane, and the ViewListView component in the right pane. The size of each pane is adjusted automatically. You can also provide a fixed size to all panes. The last pane is considered a flexible pane. Now I set the size for the first pane to 25% using the size property, and the middle pane size to 25%. Checking now, the first and second panes have a standard size, and the third one occupies the remaining space. Next, I will show you how to change the orientation of the splitter component. So far you have seen the default horizontal layout. To display the splitter in a vertical orientation, I set the orientation property to vertical. Then I change the size of the second panel to 15%. I also change the dimension of the splitter by setting its height to 400 pixels and width to 700 pixels. See, the splitter component is rendered in a vertical layout. Next, I will show you how to expand or collapse panes. By default, collapsible behavior is disabled in the splitter component. To enable this behavior for the first and third panes, I set the collapsible property to true in the respective pane tags. See, the first pane is collapsed when I click this icon. To collapse the middle pane on initial loading, I set the collapse property to true in the second pane and enable the collapsible property. You can see the middle pane is collapsed on initial loading. By default, resizing is enabled in the splitter component. To disable the resizing behavior of the third panel, set the resizable property to false in pane 3. Look now, I am unable to resize the splitter panes. Splitter resizing will only work when the resizable property is set to true for the panes adjacent to the target pane. Finally, I will show you how to render nested panes. To do that, I define an object named nested_content and define a template named nested_template. Within the template, I add a division element with the ID property vertical_splitter and class vertical_splitter. Inside this, I add two more division elements with the appropriate content to show the nested splitter. Then I define a function named nested_template and return the object nested_content to the template property. I then assign this nested template to the content property of the second pane. I set the resizable property to false in the first pane and remove the collapse property. In the splitter tag, I remove the orientation property to display the splitter in a horizontal orientation and change the height to 250 pixels. I add the created event to initialize the splitter component and assign the callback method on create and define this method. Within the method, I initialize a new instance of the splitter class and set the orientation property to vertical. Next, I append this instance to the HTML content, which has the vertical splitter ID. Also, I import the splitter constructor from the J2VueLayouts package to use the instance. And I set the padding and border styles for the splitter. See, the splitter is rendered with nested panes. I can resize all the panes except for the left pane. In this video, I have shown you how to add the Syncfusion Splitter component to a Vue app and how to use a few of its basic features like resize, collapse, and expand panes. I also showed you how to render nested panes. If you want to see a working example, you can download one from the GitHub link in the description below. I have also shared a link where you can learn about obtaining a free license key to use our Vue products through our community license. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel.